Yeah, a couple of words on the BSG first. BSG is an advisory group to UK government made up of different types of member of the broadband value chain. So within the BSG you've got people like BT and Carphone Warehouse. You've also got content providers like BBC and ITV. And you have other types of ISP. You have the equipment manufacturers, Cisco for example, Ericsson, and a number of players of that type. We are in the middle of a quite productive period in BSG. I'm talking to you today about a report that we produced with the help of some consultants, Plum, on the benefits of next generation access, the social benefits of next generation access. Matt Yardley later on today is talking to you about models of public sector intervention, which is also a piece of work that we commissioned from analysis. And we're going on to do a third piece of work, which is looking at the cost trade-offs between private and private cabinet, which we hope will be produced in September or October this year. So it's quite a productive period. The underlying issue, which I want to talk about today, is really one about timing. As Benoit illustrated, the UK is not in the lead in deployment of next generation access in Europe or anywhere else in the world. This is a sort of fairly familiar feeling. About 2000, the UK was behind in the deployment of first generation broadband. And then from the period of about 2003, 2004, 2005, things began to accelerate and the UK began to perform well. And it feels like a slightly sense of deja vu. We're now in the same situation where other countries, particularly Japan and Korea, but also more sort of closer to home, Sweden, as Benoit showed, are beginning to deploy large amounts of fibre and we're not. So the big question, which we are grappling with as a society and as the broadband stakeholder group, is how far should we move? And that's really what I want to talk about today. I'll be talking about this particular report that looked at the issue of the economic and social benefits of next generation access and the light it throws on that particular, on the timing issue in particular. I'm just going to give you some words of background just to kick off with. This is something about the character of fibre, and without going through this slide in detail, the chart on the left-hand side says that you can be more assured of the speed of fibre, and it's more symmetrical than is the case with ADSL 2+. And it has a number of other characteristics: greater consistency, higher upload, greater reliability, etc. But the key thing, I think, is as Benoit was suggesting, is that fibre enables innovation. And of course, when you come onto this issue of timing, do we invest now or do we invest later? Trying to predict innovation is obviously a difficult to do. The one in the report was to not look at the benefits of high-speed broadband generically, but look at the benefits of high-speed broadband relative to what we've got now. And so the counterfactual, in the words of our economist consultant, was basically what one could extract from cable, from copper, assuming that it continues to develop at its current rate. And then, so comparing that against fibre to cabinet deployment and fibre to the home. Just sort of very quickly on some cost numbers that we used. I'm not saying these are the right numbers, but they're numbers that we derive really from experience in the US, the Verizon AT&T experience that Benoit was also referring to. And this suggests that in the UK, very roughly, fibre to the cabinet might cost €7 billion, fibre to the home would cost 22 billion. And fibre to the home in which there was a copper replacement strategy, in other words, we were able to switch off copper, assuming that delivered operational savings, that would be about 16 billion as opposed to the 22 billion where that wasn't happening. These numbers are the ones that we're going to try and improve on in the next piece of work we do. And I hope that the numbers that we come up with next will be interesting to an international audience. Obviously, the UK, this will be different from Portugal's, for example, but I hope nevertheless we'll be sufficiently transparent about our assumptions that you'll be able to adjust for what's going on here. I'm not going to go through this slide in detail in the interest of time. Anyone who's interested, I can give you the link through to the site where for this report to be downloaded. But it's basically saying what we're trying to do in this report was to create a structure, an analytic structure that enables us to progressively populate that with data. And this is the way in which we split up the cost-benefit framework. And that in turn, I will spend a little bit of time on this chart, that in turn gave us this initial view of the costs and benefits of next generation access. On the left-hand side, you see the cost side of the equation, and on the far left, you've got a fibre to the cabinet cost, which is annualised, and then progressively greater costs if you deploy fibre to the home. And then the difference between the far left and far right on the cost side is basically the degree of operational savings that we get from copper replacement. And then there's something which Benoit also referred to, the consumer time for installation. I don't think we've quite practiced yet, but I think just in some way that valuing the opportunity cost of consumer time if you want to get people into the home to put in new equipment or whatever. And then a whole range of benefits on the right-hand side of the view, and they range from short-term through to long-term. They are online time savers of doing what we're doing now quicker, online backup, so avoiding some of the hassle we have. The benefits to SMEs, video distribution, reduced business travel, which again comes on some of the green issues that Daniel was talking about, and then much greater use of spectrum efficiency. Those were the things we were able to value. In addition, there are a whole set of wider economic and wider social benefits, which we at this point in time we couldn't value. I'm not going to go through it in a lot of detail, but if you look on the right-hand side, educated citizens. So what is the increment in education, the next generation access? I think one of the things that Benoit said was talking about the importance of locals. Well, that in itself has a benefit. If you can bind a community more together, then that has a benefit. And there are a couple of other things which we probably understand. So there are some benefits which we can identify now and have a first stab at value, but there are a number of other benefits which are much more difficult to value on this time. Now I've just got two more slides. I'm going to just go through those two, and then I'll let Roger speak. What are the issues? Well, the big issue is invest now or later. And this is our early hypothesis, if you like, which is that there is a danger of ill-informed investment, and that is greater than the danger of waiting. But that balance will change. Now that is a very, it's quite a dense hypothesis there that needs to be unpacked a bit, but it's a very